There is a lot of insanely difficult mechanics in Rocket League, but I'm going to tell you the hardest mechanics to master in 2023. Make sure to like the video and comment down below to help me with the algorithm, and I'll get onto the video now. I've got tutorials for basically all of these mechanics on my channel and in the description below, so make sure to check any of those tutorials out if you're interested in any of these mechanics. Number 10 is the Fetelix Jump. This mechanic might be a surprise as it's so high up on the list. You might have thought it'd be lower down, but the reason it's so high up is because so many people have tried it and can do it, and this is my most viewed tutorial on my channel, so make sure to go and check that out on my channel. The reason it is in this hardest list is because not many people can actually do it consistently. A lot of people can do like 5 and 10 tries, but not many can actually do it every single attempt, and that's why I've put it this high up on the list. This mechanic I do think can be a really game-breaking mechanic if done consistently, but no one's actually gone to the level of being consistent at it yet, because it's such a timed-based mechanic. It's really hard to get consistent at. Number 9 is the Aztral Pinch. You might be surprised this is even on the list, but I've put this on the list because I think if you do this in a comp match, in a competitive setting, if you do this and it fails, you've basically given it a completely open goal. So you need to get these consistently to make these actually not pointless. Then these are also really difficult to do. Like, you have to be perfectly positioned on the ball at the perfect speed to actually get these in. And if you do get them in, most of the time they bounce or don't go in perfectly. And if you do them slightly wrong at a slightly wrong angle and you flip at the slightly wrong amount of time, it will either hit the crossbar or get nowhere near the goal in the first place. So that's why I've put these so high up on the list, because I think they're actually really difficult to perform, and if you do them correctly, you might still give away an open net or makes you lose the game. The next one is a Musty Reset. This is something where you do a musty and you get the reset at the end. This isn't doing a musty flick into a reset, it's actually getting the flip reset after you do a musty flick motion. This is so difficult because your car has such a long amount of time doing the musty flick motion. It's really difficult to predict where your car is going to go, where the ball will be, and you have to get so far underneath the ball, it's really difficult. Then after you get the flip reset, it's really hard to get back on your car and control it into an air dribble or just a normal hit, because after you get the reset, your car is really close to the floor and the ball probably hasn't got a good contact with the ball, so it kind of rolls off your car. And this is why I think this reset's probably the hardest flip reset to actually learn. But there is like 10 flip resets in a row, etc., but the hardest actual flip reset to do I think is this one, and you need to try it yourself. I don't have a tutorial on it, but I recommend just trying it in free play. The next one is a Jakze Pop. This is when you do like a Jakze Pinch kind of on the ball, and the ball and your car pops up together in the air. This isn't actually that hard to actually do, but doing it in game can require a lot of boost and very good car control and very good boost management. So when you start to try this in game, you will see how difficult this actually is. Maybe at the mid boost it's okay, but when you start to do it at the back boost, it starts to become really difficult. Or even if you don't use any boost pads at all, you can do this without using any boost. Then flying up to the ball, you waste all your boost and you're kind of shafted, so you can't really do anything in the air like flip resets for a musty flick. So I recommend you learning this. I've got a tutorial on it on my channel. It's not that hard in actual training, but in actual matches it's really difficult. The next one is a turtle dribble. This is when you're doing a normal dribble on the floor, but you're on your turtle. This is really difficult because the ball can't actually stay in the turtle of your car. It does like 3 bounces and it starts to go off your car. So if the ball is stationary and not bouncing upwards on your car, it will just roll off and you won't be able to move your car. This is why it's so difficult. You may have seen the sideways dribble, but this is 100 times harder. This mechanic was actually found by Jakze ages ago. I had the idea before he did it, but I'm sure he had the idea way before me. But Jakze managed to do this from like half field, what I just find is insane. You kind of have to just make the ball bounce in the back 2 wheels of your car and the ball keep bouncing upwards in the air. The second the ball gets controlled on your car, you've kind of just messed up and you have to accept it will just roll off. So I recommend you trying this and attempting to make the ball bounce in the back 2 wheels. Number 5 is a no bounce psycho. These a lot of people have done now, but they're still really difficult to do, and I would say one of the hardest mechanics there are. This is when you do a psycho where you do like a redirect from the back wall on your own wall, and you then redirect the ball into the opposite side of the field into the other net. The only point is that the ball can't bounce, be a no bounce one. Doing normal psychos without the no bounce, it's actually not too difficult now and a lot of people can do them. The actual no bounce ones, still a lot of people can't do them. I've got a tutorial on my channel if you want to see how to do these, but I recommend learning them as they're really fun to do. It's a good goal to have and it's very fun to do the progression up to it. The reason these are so difficult is because there's so many mechanics involved that you need to master. For example, musty flicks, ceiling shots, redirects, and just mechanics in general. Like, to get a good one, you need to have a really fast musty flick, what not too many people have. Then after that, you need to have a really good redirect, but a lot of people don't have as well. So I recommend you learning these as they're very good to learn and they're very impressive and will show off to your friends. The next one is something I call an invisible reset. This is where you do like a wall reset, but it takes less than 0.1 seconds to actually get the reset. This is incredibly inconsistent to do and very difficult, so I recommend you learning this. I've got a tutorial on my channel for this as well. This is basically the Fetelix Jump, but you do it at a slightly different angle on the wall and you do it lower down on the wall as well. This makes it a lot harder to do and a lot faster. This could be better than the Fetelix Jump, but the one problem with this is it's so inconsistent that it's so difficult to master and do. I recommend learning it so you can do like a couple of them, as it's a good thing to show off with and telling your friends, but to actually get it with the ball, it's another level difficult, and actually getting it consistently is even more difficult than that. The next one is a goalpost pinch. A lot of people have done this by accident, but not many people have done this on purpose at all. You might see people save these and then it flying in the other net. But what this is, on the inside of the post, you want to pinch the ball like a Jakze pinch. Then if you get it at the exactly right angle, it will fly into the other side of the net and hopefully score. These can get a ton of power on them, but they're super hard. You need the exact angle on them, you need the exact flip on them, and you need to be behind the ball as well, what's difficult on the own post. But the main problem with these is that opponent can easily score. You're rolling the ball really slowly in front of your net and the opponent can just quickly go and hit the ball in. This is the one big problem with people trying to do it. There's some scenarios in comp where you can do this, but half the time you can't do it. So this is because in comp, if you do it, you're going down in history because it's super difficult to do with opponents casually chasing and hitting the ball away from you. For number 2, I've done the corner psycho. This could be easier than the no bounce psycho, but I've put this entirely second because not many people have actually scored it in game. It might be because it's a less well known mechanic, but in my experience I actually find these harder than no bounce psychos. The thing for this is you've got the corner to read as well. It's not just the back wall, but it's quite easy to read. For example, the corner, you'll read it completely different, like 10 different times. So you can't really get as much muscle memory for it. You need to learn the corner. Where for the psycho, like a normal psycho, you don't have to predict it every single time. It might stay the same for all 10 attempts, if you know what I mean. Normal psychos, boost management is a problem, but not a massive problem. But for these, boost management can be really difficult, especially for people who can't do musties or ceiling shots as well. And number 1, I've got a plan B pinch. This is something I did recently and it's really difficult. This is basically doing a Jakze pinch or a normal pinch on the wall, but when you're doing a plan B at the same time, or just a wall poke or anything you want to call it. This can be really hard to judge and really hard to angle, because if you get a bit too far forward, your car will just pogo away from the wall and the ball will go nowhere. If you go too far back, the ball won't move at all. So in general, this is really difficult to do, and I recommend you trying it as well.